Okay, that was a snack break. You guys were supposed to run downstairs, get your snacks, and come back. Are you ready? Sorry about that technology. We just sometimes, these guys are pretty good. They're just, sometimes it sneaks up. Okay, so we were on the sleeveless dress. We're just going to continue. We'll post both so you won't miss anything. You'll just have 2 to watch instead of 1. It's a little bonus here. Anyway, so I was saying that 196, which is the 4-way cardi, and the fabric is 44.65, is a great option just as a more casual dress. Like I wear dresses in these little cardis all the time. It's so cool, it's so comfortable. But I did this little 320 because I wanted to kind of dress it up a little bit. And also these fabrics, they went together so beautifully. I really wanted to do, I wanted to do the fabrics. So this 320 is a way, pattern 320, it's called the wrap. It's a great way to take a woven fabric and do like a little cardi. You could, if you wanted to, you could even tie it here. You know, not that you want to with a woven, but you certainly could. And it's a great look. So it really gives you an ability to take a woven fabric and make a little wrap out of it. It has these beautiful sleeves. It's so pretty. I love this wrap. So this is fabric 45.79. It's 100% cotton. It's got a little bit of stretch to it. But I'm telling you, when I was sewing with this, it was absolutely luscious. It was just so pretty. What I was saying when it froze was that sometimes when you like a fabric and you sew with it, we all know this, we get to where we love the fabric in the process. That was definitely the case with this little cape. I just loved the fabric in the process. And easily it can be worn with a little white tank and little white pants. It just has so many variables. It's just a great color. So it was really fun to make that. So 320, there you go. Okay, so let's show the next picture. So here it is with 450. To me, this is 450. Now it's a border print, and now it's a collar. Collar's been added. And I had somebody email me and said, would they please show how to add a collar? So I had added 600 to the one I have on. And it's actually so easy to add a collar because you're going to use the pattern of whatever the collar came from, whatever collar you want to use, and just make the 2 necklines the same. So whatever pattern the collar fits, in my case it was 600, I just drew the back and drew the front onto the 450 and then just added the collar. Now I went ahead when I did it and I finished the edge just like I would, this edge here was all finished, and I just lapped the collar right over it because this fabric was so thin. So this fabric that I used, when this fabric first came in, it's 100% cotton, and I thought, oh, I got to make something with that fabric. I just was in love with the fabric from the minute it hit. So this is, let's see, 45.87. 45.87. So once I put the collar on, and I did the yoke and I did all that, I did a couple other little changes just to be fun. So on the sleeve, you can see that if you wear the sleeves down, which I personally never do, but so you can see, I think you can see where I gathered that. So I just took a piece of elastic and just put it on the inside and gathered that. And then I did the same on the side. So you can see it's just got a little bit of shearing to it, which I really liked, especially with the print that it was. It just kind of had a little softness to it. So I went ahead and sheared it in those 2 areas. Tell us about the crystals. Do you have them on the site, and how do you put them on? So we definitely have them on the site. These are the best crystals. I get them from a guy out of New York. Hold on, I'm going to grab my sheet over here. They come, like the sheet's about 2.5 times the size. There's, I don't know how many crystals to a page. There's a whole bunch. And they're so easy to iron on, and not only are they easy to iron on, they stay. I've put them on many things. I wash them, dry them, they stay. They're very, very, you know, the glue is really good. It's just not cheap. But again, it's this guy in New York that I found years ago, and we've become fast friends. He made a whole bunch of masks for us, for everybody here at Silhouette Patterns. But anyway, you know, they had crystals. They were very pretty little masks. They're on the side. They're under notions. And then in the the right-hand column, just go down until you see crystals or iron-on crystals, something like that. And you can just click on that and that'll take you to the page. And we have the clear crystals and then we have the black crystals. and they're both beautiful. I put clear on this time because I knew I was going to put a little belt that was lighter, and I wanted the whole summer type look to it. But I use a lot of them, and I use them the black and the clear. I think they're both just really, really pretty. Is the circumference of this pattern more than 600? It's the same as 600. It's the same. The body is the same as 600. Did you zigzag sew the elastic? No, I just straight stitched. Just bottom, stretched. And I used my, sorry again, this is my sewing machine where everything gets sewed. I used my 2-inch wide elastic, and then I just cut it to the width I wanted. So this was 2 inches wide before I started. The 2-inch wide elastic that we sell, you can cut it. It's got like little ribbings on it, and you can cut it in between those ribbings to whatever width you want. So the 2-inch wide is the only elastic you'll ever need because you can cut it to whatever width you want. It's fab. Okay, so that's this one, and then that's the one I have on. Very easy to do and really fun to do. Can you explain how to move the bust dart somewhere else? No, because this is not pattern making. This is just taking 450, the PoM, and showing you different ideas with it. And in every case I didn't move the bust dart, again, because that's pattern making. So that's not really what we're doing during this webcast. My pattern says optional back dart, but there's nothing marked on the pattern piece. I'm assuming I use the same size as the front. You can, but not always. Don't assume that, because the front of our bodies are convex, the back of our bodies are concave. So a lot of times the darts in the back are deeper than the darts in the front. But the darts, either way, drape them. They change even with fabrics. So I would just put the garment on, I turn around, I just pinch both places, and I put a pin where my waist is and the thickness, and then taper them to the top and taper them to the body. Very easy to drape, and again, because your fabrics are changing, your darts will change in size a little bit. So just an FYI. Okay, let's go to, oh, that border. I wanted to stay there just for a minute. One was adding a collar, and the other was the border. So I did this one. I wanted you to see that, because this is a border print. I had kind of fun with this. And it's an idea I want to kind of pass on to you. Is it's fabric 4422. So this is kind of funky, and I really had fun with it. The first thing I did is I cut the front on a bias. And when you cut the front on a bias, and just the front, not the back, the front has a tendency to hug. And so it has a beautiful drape when it's on the body to it. And then because this is the border print, and the border is on both sides, I actually cut this on the border. And I put it on the inside and flipped it out. You can see where, it's like this. There's the border print. And so I just made a little, the border print is not as wide as the yoke piece is. Here's the yoke piece like this. And so I just made a seam right here so that I could get that border to be right on the blouse. Isn't that pretty? I think it's so pretty. It's really nice. And then again, the sleeves I used as a border print too. But darts in the same place. You don't need darts in the front when you do a bias, typically, because again, the bias will have a tendency to come into the body, just the nature of the bias. So again, that's the fabric is 4422. And it took me a couple yards because I did go on the bias, and so when you do that, it's going to require a little more. But also you can see, like up here, it's kind of funky where you can just see the side of that. And then on the back, I did the same angle, and you can see that that's where the border is as well. So I just had fun with it, and it was just something to have fun with. I don't think it was anything that I was trying to make a masterpiece. I just thought I was kind of playing with border prints and all kinds of stuff. On the dress version, how would you finish a side slit? So typically when you do a side slit, you'll want to serge both. It's in, let's say if it's in the side seam, I'll serge the front seam, I'll serge the side seam of the back, serge both seams, and then on your sewing machine, you'll use 3/8 inch seam allowance, and then you'll back stitch down to where you want the slit to start. Then you just press open whatever's not stitched, the same 3/8, so it's nice and flat, and then you just top stitch it open. So a lot of times they're kind of stitched to a V, an upside down V, or many times they're just stitched rectangular and over. But that way it's all stitched in place, it's all finished, and it lays really flat and nice, and it's beautiful. Do you recommend interfacing the neckline piece when using drapey fabric so the neckline will stand up? Yeah, if you want that stand up, but I'm going to show you like in this one. This is a really, this is the ruffle that we did. And you can see what I did here will come in to show you what I did there. We did, and we're worried that the camera is what's making the thing freeze. So we're a little nervous about using the camera and coming in, but we're going to go for it. Let's go for it. I'm going to come all the way in here, and then we won't show it to you later. But what I did is there's a little loop again. I took my elastic and I cut it thin, thin, thin. So you can see I made a little loop there, and then I put a button. So you can do that. This had to do it because of the ruffle, so that it would stand up and stand closed, because otherwise the ruffle would just, bring it open, and it wouldn't be able to do that. So again, you can use your elastic, and you can cut it to any width. And so all I did in that case is I cut it very thin. It was my black elastic, and you can see I pulled it like that, made a little loop, I stitched down both ends, and then I put the button on the other side. So very, very simple to do and really fun. Okay, so that's the border print. Let's go on to the next picture. All right, and I wanted just to show you this because these are other Tory Burches, just how many things you can use on that yoke. And it can flip from the inside again to the outside or outside to the inside. There's grommets, there's ties. I've seen so many. I feel like I could have made so many different versions of this. The goal was to just kind of get you started and then let you take off and see where it took you. But there's a lot of fun things to do. And you can see they can flare at the bottom. Let's look at the next picture, because what I want to show you here, this is a Lafayette 148. I don't know, is this one a Lafayette 148? It is. Okay, so I showed this before. This was the one I showed before. And it was a couple webcasts ago that I did this. And this was the one I had made. And what it is just a regular sleeve down to like the short sleeve cut line on your pattern. And then this bottom portion is just gathered. Cut, cut, cut. It's like 1.5 to 1. And then the bottom is gathered elastic. So they had done this and I showed it, but I wanted to show you this one because now they did like a coordinating fabric, a see-through fabric. We've got that one fabric that's black, that's like this eyelet, and then we've got so many different fabrics that you can use for this. But you can see that all it is the bottom of the sleeve, cut at it, and then elastic at the wrist. So very simple to do. It's just the idea. And I'm going to tell you something on this blouse. I love this blouse. I have worn this blouse. It's an embarrassing amount of time. It feels great on. I love the way it looks. I put it on with a little belt. You don't have to. That one doesn't have a belt. You could put darts, whatever makes it comfortable. But I just really, really like it. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so this is what I saw. And this was really interesting to me because it's like wrong. I liked it, don't get me wrong. But I don't like the plaids and I don't like the ruffles combined because ruffles and plaids don't go together. And plaids and gathers don't go together. But clearly I liked it enough to copy it, but I don't like it. I do like it, don't get me wrong. Before we even go into this, let's go ahead and give away the book. We'll take a break on that. Too much to focus on. So we're going to have the keyword. Let's just make sure we're one step ahead of you. Okay, so the keyword that we're going to type in, you're going to put in book. All lowercase, no capitals. Only put it in once because if you put it in more, that little robot man will kick you out. So just put B-O-O-K, all lowercase, book. And this little robot here in a little bit, we'll pick a winner and we'll send you the book, Dress to Kill. This talks obviously a lot about proportions, focal point, line, illusion, all those kind of fun things that, to me, as long as we're sewing, we might as well know the principles so that we can apply the principles and look our best. I'm a big believer in doing all of that. It's kind of like if you're going to build a house, you get to pick your carpet. That's the least, right? Okay. So while we're doing that, And the little robot is kind of picking a winner. Everybody put in book, B-O-O-K. Let's go back to the ruffle picture. All right, so you can see that this is 450. I mean, it's got a little more open neck, but it's just 2 layers of ruffles. It's absolutely adorable. I love it, I love it. But you know, even before we go there, I'm gonna go back to this one because I skipped it simply because I really wanted to do the pattern kind of as is, but I wanted to use a knit sleeve. So these 2 fabrics are coordinating fabrics, and this first right here is 4532 and 4534. 4532, you can see they're the same fabric. This on, I think it's got to be one of my favorite blouses. I think I know I've said this before. Okay, what's going on? Are we okay? Oh, it froze again. Okay, we'll be back.